So since being involved with this fabulous film, and essentially one thing that didn't make the cut, as we say, Sean's story, and this is how we got into this lifestyle. Back in 2011, Sean was upwards of 300 pounds, and within those 2 years, she lost 133 pounds, and then to this day, here we are, and she's in the health and vibrancy that, she's back to being the woman that I married, looking the way she does now. We've had the tremendous honor to represent the film since 2016, 2017. It's our second time that we've screened it here in Edmonton. Essentially through our outreach work with Indian Rock Vegans online, we do a lot of speaking engagements, and with the Veg Fest and some of the health conferences, and again, representing the film and sharing these important messages and examples through the film. So, and essentially, I'm here today because of her beautiful intelligence that got us into this lifestyle. I need a 5% odd survival rate with stage 4 kidney cancer. Dr. Ron Weiss, we just spent some time with him on the Holisticology at Sea Cruise, and he said, Dan, in my 30 years of practicing or so, I've met and counseled over 500,000 patients, and he said that he had seen 2 individuals survive stage 4 cancer, both of which were plant-based. One was an individual back in New York, the other, that was me. But, cancer aside, heart disease, diabetes, we can see what it can do. So we've spoken, and certainly we'd like to open up the floor to your questions. Hopefully we've got some newbies, some pre-vegans or plant-based curious people as well. So go ahead, folks. Let's see what you have. Yes, ma'am.
So the question was, do we take any vitamin supplements? Really, all we take is B12, and only probably about once a week, because we do eat, if you'll notice, most of the plant-based milks are fortified with B12. Also, nutritional yeast is a great source of that as well. There is some talk about taking D3 because we live in a northern climate and we're not getting exposed to sunshine as much as we should be, since we evolved living around the equator and some fool decided to move north.
Places like Edmonton.
So those are the only 2 things that we really concern ourselves about. Do you have some input on that? Did you want to say anything about supplements?
It seems that I have some output on that. So vitamin D, and I completely agree with you. Vitamin D is important to everyone, not necessarily vegans or whole food diet.
Yes.
The same goes with calcium, that it's still recommended, especially for women, and vitamin B12, yes, that's very important. Now, there are some vitamins and minerals that I would say are in the gray zone, that I recommend. I don't think that they are harmful, but I would recommend them. One of them is the omega-3, that you can, that I still recommend it, but we don't have enough data, I would say, to recommend it scientifically, full-blown scientifically. And the other one is probiotics. All of them are still in the gray zone, but the science progresses all the time, and we have more and more evidence. And that's the thing that I would like to do when I'm doing, is evidence-based science. It's not only by rumors of what is good or not good. The internet is full of that. The whole idea is to find really those facts that are based on science. And to back up what you say right now, definitely vitamin D and B12 are essential, are very important. And I see so many people that are on omnivores and are eating everything, including meat, and they are lack in vitamin B12. It's very prevalent.
Any other questions? So I will address one thing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
What you say, like a year ago, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and I was pretty shocked about it. It was on my 40th birthday, and before that morning, I was being notified that I had to take all the time, and I kind of followed something similar with
research about, okay, first he's asking about diabetes. Specifically, you're asking about whether you should be eating dried fruit, whole grains. Is that correct? That you're worried about that raising your blood sugar?
Yes.
So I think the research has come out lately, in the last few years, that they're seeing that what is happening is when you have too much fat in your cells, intramyocellular lipids, what happens is it impairs the ability for the insulin to actually deliver the sugar to the cell, which the cell uses for energy. So it kind of clogs the key. The insulin is the key and the fat is clogging the lock. And so when you get the fat out of the diet by eliminating dairy products and animal products, you are able to process sugar in a much more efficient way. That sugar, when I say sugar, I mean glucose, because really our bodies are designed to work on glucose. It's the primary fuel that our brain wants and works on. So that sugar, glucose, from the food, then is very efficient of coming into the bloodstream and getting absorbed into the cells of your muscles to create energy. So the only reason that you have high blood sugar is that it never gets absorbed into the cells of your muscle, and then it backs up into your blood sugar or into your bloodstream, so the levels go up. So it's not about the sugar, it's about the fat. And that's a little bit simplified, but if you take your diet to the next level and you really get into a whole food, plant-based lifestyle, and you eliminate the high-fat foods in any kind of animal form, you will see that you are better able to manage your sugar, your glucose from those foods. That being said, we don't actually we try and not eat a lot of dried fruit because they're not actually whole foods, because the water is missing. So you're apt to eat, let's think about dried apricots. You can easily eat 6 or 7 dried apricots, but you're probably not going to sit down and eat 7 apricots. So it's a little bit different. You've sucked that water out, that water fills you up, it satiates you, and so dried fruit is a bit of an issue, but for kind of other reasons than the sugar. Would you like to add to that, since you're the doctor?
After you explain so nicely the medical portion, which I fully respect, we can move to the light portion about patients that I see, so many of them with diabetes, and I can tell you the trick about diabetes. That's you need to hear. The trick about diabetes is to catch it when it's in the beginning, because then you can prevent the macrovascular complications, the stroke, the heart disease, and the arteries, the clogged arteries. So it's important to catch it in the beginning. I have several patients, not 1, not 2, not 3, quite a bit of patients that started with stabilizing the sugar, let's say with insulin. This is the best way to stabilize it, or to use metformin. Usually you use both of them. So metformin and insulin to stabilize the sugar, and then they hear about this miracle about plant-based diet. And some of them, not all of them, maybe 40% of them, change. And they change into plant-based. And suddenly something happened. With time, because we use the insulin, it's not a miracle, it doesn't happen overnight. But because they use the plant-based and they change it, you see that we start to reduce the units of the insulin. That's amazing. I can tell you, even though I knew that it works, I was amazed to see that the insulin that they used went down and down, and we eliminated completely. And I have quite a bit of patients that were completely convinced that diabetes is for life. You cannot get rid of it. And they got rid of everything. The glucose is in normal level. That's amazing. And it works. I see it again, time and again and again. So, no miracles here. It works.
there's, in addition to, I would highly recommend you look into one particular dietitian, Canadian dietitian by the name of Brenda Davis, who's based out of the Okanagan. Her specialty with some of her research is particularly with diabetes, and her book actually was one of parts of the door prizes, Becoming Vegan Comprehensive. She's also just in the midst of completing probably about her 9th or 10th book. She's been at it for about 35 years, specifically about diabetes. She also did an extensive project in the Marshall Islands a few years ago with helping this population with their diabetes epidemic. And Brenda Davis, I think one of the premier specialists and registered dietitians in the world with respect to diabetes.
So that book is called Kicking Diabetes. So it's a really comprehensive guide, and it also has tons of recipes, which I was one of the recipe testers. So please pick that book up.
She's wonderful and very approachable. All of these physicians, what's very remarkable is some of these physicians are across the world. John Smith, Edmonton, shoots off an email. Hello, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. I had a question for you. You'll get a reply back from them. And in many instances, when you include a phone number, you get a call back from these individuals. It's just incredible. Go ahead.
I just want to say regarding Brenda Davis, she's an amazing lady. She was actually instrumental in changing the new Canadian food guidelines. And so I have a lot of respect for her. If you have a time, there's an amazing lecture by her on YouTube. It's called Reversing Chronic Disease with a Whole Food Plant-Based Diet. And what I like is actually she takes it from what the data shows and the research shows, and then how we live, how these people of the blue zones live. We saw, by the way, there's 5 zones of places in the world that people live the longest, and they kind of did an extensive study on why they live so long. And she kind of shows that too in the lecture, and then she kind of pulls it to the end of sort of together and talk about how we impact the environment. So I highly recommend that you have time to go and watch that lecture. It's about an hour and a half. Preventing chronic disease with a whole food plant-based diet. Brenda Davis.
So just to add to it, to back it in studies, there were epidemiological studies. You know, epidemiological studies are based on hundreds of thousands, many people. And they took a cohort of people that were completely vegan, and people that were vegetarian, and people that were omnivore and ate everything, and they compared between these groups. And the results are amazing, because you see those that are plant-based survive the longer, but the amazing thing, it's not about the survival. The quality of life was much higher. And you know what? I always tell the people here, I have cards here, which I said I don't want to give the cards to people that are vegan because they are bad clients. I don't see them. Yeah, I'm kidding. I like to see vegans, but really there are 2 types of people. There are people that became vegan from 2 different reasons. One are those that are, as the doctor mentioned here, that are suffering from chronic diseases, and then they became vegan, or they search for an answer to their chronic disease. And there are people that are studying, and they understand, they realize that this is a better choice, and they start being vegan before they catch any chronic disease. Okay? Guess what? Who are the people that I see the most in my clinic? First one. Okay? People that are searching for the answer after they have the chronic disease, which are most welcome. That's okay, and I like very much to help them. Those that are vegan, plant-based, I see rarely. And I'm very happy that I see them rarely. That's good.
Yeah, another issue for myself was not seen in the film. Middle age, prior to Sean getting us into this lifestyle, I was about 212 pounds, so about 35 pounds overweight. I was pre-diabetic, metabolic syndrome, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. And for the 2 years that we adopted the plant-based diet, all of those markers disappeared and I became very, very healthy. I went into the cancer diagnosis extremely healthy. And everybody says, well, how do you know, or oh, look, you were eating plant-based and you still developed cancer. Well, that cancer would have been growing for 15, 20, 25 years. And I was fortunate, though, that while adopting this lifestyle, that in all likelihood I kind of slowed things down at the 11th hour. And then again, as we see, what's interesting too, and every time we come up and present again, it's been, I speak to people, I say, okay, I'm cancer-free now 3.5 years. I'm cancer-free 4.5 years. Last November was the 5-year mark, which there's only a 5% survival rate to hit 5-year survival. And now here I am, 5 years, 7 months. So I keep flipping the chart on the calendar, and it's the most tremendous thing to see. And continue speaking about it. And not only surviving, but thriving. I'm healthier than I've always been. Even going through the cancer diagnosis, I looked essentially like I do today. And my physicians and the medical team kind of just shrugged their shoulders looking at us. Were they ever interested as to what I was doing? But that's changing because we have these physicians now. We've got Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. We've got Dr. Michael Prager. We've got Dr. T. Colin Campbell, and the people that have seen here today. Further questions?